What is good, YouTube? It's your boy Chris, and we're back on Spurs Spotlight with another banger.
Yo, y'all gonna stop coming in my live talking about this Victor dude, bro. We hooping this year. Y'all gonna see.
Alright, team. So today we have some more news regarding Keldon Johnson and some trade scenarios that we got going around on Twitter. With our last video, y'all saw that we posted a video talking about Keldon Johnson being traded. And although we didn't really like the return, or at least I didn't, with Anthony Simons, we got some more news about other targets that the Spurs could be looking at. Right after I dropped that Keldon Johnson video, I went on Twitter, or I checked the Spurs Discord, and they sent this tweet to me right here, down here, by K. the Chemist. Y'all go ahead and give him a follow, man. But he said Keldon Johnson is being shopped, and the Spurs got one more move loaded in the clip. TikTok. I guess he's known for being ahead of his time and calling some shots or calling some stuff that goes around the NBA. And I scroll through his page, and he's called a few things that have actually gone down. So I'm taking his word with a grain of salt. You know, I'm not saying this is for sure, but he sounds like he knows what he's talking about. So I think Keldon Johnson is going to be moved if I had to bet on it, but nothing's a sure thing. Not to mention, they still haven't said anything about Keldon Johnson's number. We obviously know that he's going to switch his number if it comes down to it, because Chris Paul is not switching his number. But that might also be another reason for a trade. Although it sounds silly, that could be a reason he also wants a trade. So I for sure think the Spurs are looking into it right now. But let's get into this tweet. So as you can see, he took a screenshot of this tweet right here by Jake Weinbach, saying the Spurs should still be active on the trade market, with Brooklyn's Cam Johnson considered to be a possible target. San Antonio will likely dangle Keldon Johnson in draft compensation in trade talks to further upgrade their roster around Victor Wembanyama this season. And K. the Chemist said, that's plan B, but your timing of this post is astonishing. So I'm guessing he knows that the Spurs are going to go after somebody else, but if they can't get that player, then Cam Johnson is going to be the backup. And I was thinking earlier today, what if the Spurs are working towards Lauri Markkanen? You know, with that Alex Sarr news dropping, I'm thinking they're looking at a 4. Lauri Markkanen is perfect. I've heard that on Twitter, of course. I don't have sources, but I've heard that the Jazz actually really want to tank this season, and that Danny Ainge really wants Cooper Flagg. So it wouldn't make sense to keep Lauri Markkanen on your roster and win more games and then tank half the season. So I feel like he's going to get traded, and the Warriors have made other signings. Who else was going to go after Lauri Markkanen? The team DeRozan went to, the Kings. Yes, they got DeRozan. So all that's left is really the Spurs. So if I have to make a prediction here, I think the Spurs are going after Lauri Markkanen. But if they can't get Lauri Markkanen, then Cam Johnson is the backup plan. Moving on, going a little bit deeper into this tweet right here. If we were to trade for Cam Johnson and Keldon Johnson is in that package, correct me if I'm wrong. I could be wrong, but Keldon Johnson is the better player in my opinion. Just looking at their stats alone, he's 4 years younger. Keldon Johnson is 24, averaging better numbers. Cam Johnson's 28. I think the reason you do this trade is because Cam Johnson is a better fit for the team. It's not because Cam Johnson is a better player, because I think Keldon Johnson is by far the better player. And if you're giving Keldon Johnson to the Nets, who have almost no leverage in this, you're giving them a young piece in Keldon Johnson, because believe it or not, he is still young compared to other teams. That's not the youngest team in the league like the Spurs. So Keldon Johnson is a very valuable young piece. And honestly, if you're giving up any draft compensation, it's second-round picks. And in return, we should be asking for at least one first-round pick to take Cam Johnson off their hands and upgrade him with Keldon Johnson. Because I'll say it again, Keldon Johnson is the better talent, but Cam Johnson is the better fit for the Spurs. You shouldn't be giving up first-round picks for Cam Johnson, let alone you shouldn't give up. I mean, you could give up as many second-rounders if you really want to. First-rounders are really what I'm worried about. I don't want the Spurs to give up first-round picks for Cam Johnson. I'll say it one last time. And as we know, the Nets are going into a rebuilding phase, so adding a player like Keldon Johnson wouldn't make them win too many more games. You know, we tanked with Keldon Johnson on our roster, so it shouldn't be a problem for Brooklyn, and I think that would be a nice pickup. Now looking at Cam Johnson, he's really just a spot-up shooter. I don't really know too much about his defense, but I've heard people say he's about average, you know. He's not a liability on the defensive end, which I like. And he's coming off a year where he averaged 13, 4, and 2. He's 28 years old, 6'8". I like the size. So as you see, one thing I also am worried about is his games played. I know it's nothing crazy, but he's coming off a year playing 58 games, which isn't that bad. But he also played 42 the year before, 58, 42, and then 66 games, which isn't bad. But these last two, he has had some injuries, so that's just something to note. But he's a lethal shooter. 42, 45, 37, 40, and 39% from the three-point range. That's something we really need on this Spurs team, and something I'm really looking forward to if we are looking to pick somebody up. With this, I don't really know how his stats would balance out coming to the Spurs. All I know is he's going to be on that three-point line getting passes from Wemby, Vassell, and CP3, and he will be able to hit those shots, and we really need that. We really haven't had a three-point specialist since Doug McDermott, so that's something we desperately need. Moving on from us needing a point guard, I think that biggest hole in the roster is a forward, a nice 3 or 4. So these are for sure players that I think we should be looking at, Lauri Markkanen and Keldon Johnson. But other than that, let me know what y'all are thinking down below. What are some players we should be looking into? My predictions are Lauri Markkanen and Keldon Johnson, like I said before. Leave it down below if you have some hot takes or players we should be looking into. But other than that, man, I'll get back with y'all if we have some more Spurs news or anything else that drops. If a Keldon Johnson trade drops, I'll be here. But yeah, other than that, it's me, your boy Christian on Spurs Spotlight, and I'm out. Peace.